Hello everybody, it's Plasma 1945 with you, airborne on Growling Sidewinder, and what we're looking at today is the J-11. And the only reason to have the J-11 is to rock the r-77 missile. So it is a longer than normal video. We've got 3 flights all packed together with some fast forwarding. Hopefully you like it, ask questions below, and of course subscribe and like. Flying on Growling Sidewinders, we're going to encounter a whole bunch of enemies, F-16s, F-18s, as well as Mirages, so we are literally going against a NATO aircraft here. Now, the J-11 performance is identical to the Su-27. It does not have the functionality of the Su-33, the special afterburner and all that stuff. It carries the same number of pylons, but unlike the Su-27, which can only carry the R-27 ETs and the 27 ERs, those are Fox 1 and Fox 2 missiles, the J-11 can carry the r-77. Now, the r-77 is carrying is probably similar to an early version of a AMRAAM. It has problems with its range and its maneuverability, and its performance is nowhere close to the AIM-120C5. So let's get into the battle here. This is going to be a 2-splash event, one with an r-77. There's 2 hostiles on my nose, and there's a hostile on my 10 o'clock. You can see them on data link. I initially start sorting for the guys to the right, scanning low, trying to pick them up. They're both sort of, one's in the weeds, one's medium altitude. And just as I acquire them, trying to keep an eye on them, deciding what I'm going to do with them. They are outside of my range of a shot here. I am at Mach 1.1, so I'm going pretty quick here, and I'm fairly high up. In this situation, I would definitely have had lock, but I pick up a hostile that is much closer. He is on my left, lock him up, and going to do a Fox 3 shot on him at a range of approximately 12.5 miles. So this is about 25 kilometers. The Fox 3 is on its way, and it's going to impact and splash the hostile. Now, keep something in mind here. I was traveling at Mach 1.2 full burn at about 30,000 shooting down. So the missile did not get confused by terrain, and it did get that splash for me. So there we go, splash 1 for the R-77. Now this is going to get a little messier, because what happened is, while I was chasing that guy down, a couple of the fighters that were originally to my right have now passed close to me and almost underneath me. So just watch my data link here. So I'm looking for them. They are in the weeds in the canyons next to me. I'm looking around, trying to pick them up. I know that something is going on here, but I'm not sure where they are exactly. And there's a sonic boom. As soon as I heard that boom, I know there's no friendlies there. And here are the hostiles. So turning in right around. So there's 2 guys here. What they are is an F-18 and an F-16 running through the canyons. Trying vertical scan, trying whatever I can to pick one up. There's one. I've got an R-73 close-up shot. 2 R-73s out. Both hit the mountain. Send the 3rd one. This was way too close for a shot from the R-77. That's why I went to the 73s here. Alright, splash 1 F-18. Where is his friend? I'm looking around. Not seeing him. He's supposed to be here somewhere. So I'm turning away, watching my data link, looking for this guy. Now what happened is, he was flying right next to his friend, and he turned right, and there he is, just popped up. Spotted him on data link and cranking as hard as I can. He's actually right above me, trying to get him locked up. Vertical scanning, don't see him, and there he is. Trying to turn as hard as I can. He's already passed over me, trying to get him into vertical scan here. I'm really slow, 120 knots. R-77 out. R-77 does not track. The Wes was jammed. It didn't have time to maneuver. I'm seeing this guy trying to get behind me, going full gate, and I just don't have the energy. Alright, plasma's down. Let's go again. Alright guys, so that is that, as they say. Single flight, 1 hostile splashed with the R-77 on the J-11 from about 10,000 meters and do Mach 1.2 head-on shot at 12 miles. Not bad, but I probably would have been able to shoot a successful missile at about 18 miles if it was an r-77 ER at that hostile, and likely would have had the kill. Now, I am impressed that the missile was able to maneuver and find the target, and we're back up in the air looking for more targets. So let's fast forward and get to the combat zone. This is going to get actually a little bit interesting because I'm going to lose a kill to an F-16. So here's our situation. I am targeting a single hostile who has already launched on me. Just as I peel out, pop an R-77 and then dive and evade. This is pretty much hot off the rail R-77 as I am defending rapidly towards the ground. AIM-120 is on me. Watch that RWR. It's on its way. My R-77 is tracking pretty nicely, and a friendly F-16, I believe it is also turning onto that target. As you can see, my missile is still tracking the enemy despite his coming out about 180 and dropping chaff. Friendly F-16 fires an AIM-120. It hits the target, and my R-77 does connect, so I did a review of that, and it did hit his body. And I'm still trying to get away from that AIM-120, doing some crazy turns here. What I didn't know is that the AIM-120 was out of power, and it was just kind of floundering around, flopping around in the air, but it was still tracking me. So I did hit the deck here, but that was a high altitude, high speed launch, and that was a successful splash. Didn't get the points for it, but that's okay. So that's 3 launches for R-77s and 2 kills, so not too bad. So turning back in, and let's go find more hostiles here. And my friendly F-16 that helped me out and borrowed my kill there has already been splashed, so it's just me against another hostile. Hostile just on the other side of the mountains. I'm kind of looking for him. I've gone into EO mode. I don't want to give away my position and location. It's now a matter of finding that hostile and to track him down. So coming over the top of the mountain here, a couple of valleys up ahead. EO mode is running. Vertical scan. There should be a hostile here somewhere. There we go. Radar lock. Hostile is just under 5 miles. R-77 out and then peeling out rapidly. The hostile was also quick and fired a missile at me, but I've used the terrain. His missile has hit the terrain next to me. In that situation, it's all about take the shot and get out of the way. So that was the move there. Took the shot. R-77 trusted it, and it went and hit the guy in the face. 5-mile shot with R-77, not a problem. And so I'm going to fast forward the flying through the mountains here. Don't get pukey as I slot in for some new targets. But let's take a moment here and review. So in the second flight, 2 shots of R-77s, one at approximately 12-13 miles on a maneuvering target below me from a high speed, high altitude, splashed the target, and then a shot level on a target 5 miles, 10 kilometers away, head on, and took out that target as well. So we're talking 100% success rate. Not too shabby. Alrighty, let's start looking for some targets. We're over the mountains. There's a couple of battles going on, and on data link we can see that we are losing friends very quickly, but there are 2 hostiles inbound. They painted me with radar for just a second there, but I'm gonna put this hill between me and them and use the hill for cover. Alright, back to regular speed, and I can see on data link only 1 contact. Second one's gone missing, and then he's intermittently back up. Very close. At this point, there is no reason for me to do long-range shots because they're going to be coming over the hill. So let's see how well the R-77s can maneuver at close-up shots. This hostile should be under 5 kilometers, about 10 kilometers max. Doing a rolling vertical scan in EO. I don't want to give away my position. Trying to track a target that is supposed to be right next to me here. And then I spot that there's another guy on my 6 o'clock. It's just a bad kind of a day. But coming around, looking for him now. Based on data link, he should be co-altitude. Yes, there he is. R-77 out. This is a 7-kilometer shot. That's about 3.5 miles. Turning away immediately onto the second target. No splash here because the primary guy has gone behind a hill. Alright, there's a second pop-up right next to me. That's why I dropped lock. Hostile has picked me up. He's coming around to go at me. R-77 out again. This was a close shot. 2.5, 3 miles, and splash F16. He did dispense both chaff and flares, but that did not help him out. Alright, back in the valley, looking at data link pop up on my 6 o'clock coming in from Beslan. Let's come around and find him. What I didn't know until I'm looking at the data link here is that guy that my missile did not hit, where the missile hit the mountain because he terrain masked from it. He is a mirage and he is going to be behind me, but thank goodness he's not paying attention and doesn't see me. I'm going to hope that it was because either the AWACS, Brock calls, or TAF didn't help him out. We've got this guy locked up. He is above us and lost lock on him. Something's going on with EO, so this is now at 8 kilometers. Fox 3, 8 kilometers, hostile is slightly above me. Just on the edge of my WES zone. He's chaffing, flaring, and going into a dive. Missile is tracking, splash F16. So that was another 4-mile shot at a target that was almost beaming. So the r-77 is definitely behaving a little bit better. Alright, back in the weeds, back in the weeds. Typical flanker behavior. I'm just being the sneaky flanker. I'm sorry for all those who are not happy with the angry flankers hiding in the bushes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but now I'm down to 1 more missile. So far it's been pretty good. Out of 6 missiles, I've only had 1 hit the mountain so far. So not bad. This was here's the 6th r-77. And looking for that target, doing the rolling rolls. There we go. Target's picked up. He is in a dive. Looks like he is fired on a friendly, and now the hostile is diving for the deck. My last r-77, and I'm trying to figure out if he is before this hill or behind the hill. Fox 3 is out. Really dangerous moment here. I actually lose lock on him, but the r-77 has him locked. I lose lock, but the missile finds him, really threads the needle, and gets the splash. Alright, so, second sortie. We had 6 r-77s. We fired all 6 of them. We had 4 splashes and 1 splash, which we would have had on that very first hostile, but unfortunately the friendly AIM-120 got to the target first. Let's talk benefits of the r-77. That previous launch, the very last one, was a perfect example. If that was a launch of a 27 ER and the guy went behind the hill, the missile would have lost him and would have floundered. I would have had to lock him up and reacquire. Now, let's do a little bit of math. So far, 2 sorties, a total of 8 missiles fired, and there were a total of 6 kills if we consider the kill where the missile from the F-16 hit the guy first and then my r-77 connected with his corpse. So let's take a look. If I do my math correctly, 6 divided by 8 is a 0.75 success rate with the r-77s in ranges between 15 and 3 miles on maneuvering targets. Now, r-77s that did fail, 1 was fired on a hostile that I was merged with, and it simply couldn't turn away in enough time to track the target. This was on the F-16 in the dogfight merge in the first fight. And the second r-77 failed because I fired it after a target who then terrain masked. So in both of those cases, I don't think it was a missile problem, it was more of an operator problem. So in case of a merge, a big important lesson here is this: make sure you have at least 2 or 4 r-73s. This is very crucial as we come in for a landing here, and the reason it's crucial is, as you saw in the first fight, those maneuvering targets, there is no way that the r-77 could have possibly turned to splash him. And I exhausted all my r-73s on the first target. So if you have a target that is approaching you and you know that you're going to merge, or you are in a merge, have those r-73s ready. That's the lesson of the day for the r-77s. We're gonna go for one more flight here as I do this landing, and the reason I'm doing this landing is because People have been saying that Plasma can't land. Yes, most of the time Plasma cannot land, but in this case, not only did I approach the airport, I also talked to Viper 81 and confirmed that he is holding short at the other end of the runway, ready for takeoff, and he is just waiting for me to land. So I said to him, we're going to trade off. I'm going to land, and then you're going to take off runway 31, and I'm going to pull in behind you so that you can take on the shift of splashing hostiles. This was actually a really good flight here. Viper 81 is flying, of course, an F-16 Viper, and we had a friendly competition on the red team going here. By the time I signed off, I was down to 11 splashes and 1 death, and Viper 81 beat me with 13 splashes and 1 death. So we were kind of trading off the entire time. We actually did try a joint flight in this mission, but I'm not going to post that because we both took off, and I ended up in a 3v1, and Viper got pulled off to a different location. So that didn't work out, but well, that caused me to have 2 deaths and 13 kills. But anyway, so here is a Viper 81 from Tactical Wing G something. I always forget their name. TWTKG. They're good. He's great. He's great. That's all I'm going to say. And he is off for a sortie. Meanwhile, I'm going to reset and grab a new plane. Successfully landed. R-73 still on the wing, and 1,000 liters in the tank, or 1,000 kilograms in the tank. All right, guys. Last and final sortie, taking off, and looking pretty good here. Again, loadout is 6 R-77s. This has turned out to be a super long video on the employment of the R-77 missiles. Again, my goal is to try a high altitude profile and then dive in on targets and work with them down in the weeds. I'm really trying to figure out, are the R-77s and is the J-11 viable? So far, here's what I can say. As long as you have some friendlies with AIM-120s or AIM-54s for long standoff ranges, or you are a maniac and able to notch and evade targets, you'll be okay. But the R-77s definitely do have a range penalty compared to the AIM-120s, which do seem to have much better flight characteristics. Alright, we're in. We've got a couple of friendlies in the weeds, and we've got some hostiles on the nose here. It didn't look too good because it was a 3v1 as I'm flying in towards them. And just trying not to get splashed here. A little tricky. Always listen to that RWR. I've got all sorts of signals from my 12 o'clock, as you can see on the RWR, and the hostiles are starting to enter into my weapon employment zone, and I dropped the lock because I've got somebody right below me, so I'm scanning up, down. I keep locking the guy that is far away, but there is a hostile right below me, and I definitely don't like that. So I dropped the lock on the high flyer up ahead because I can see that he's getting engaged by friendlies, and here is the hostile below me. I'm in PPS mode, high PRF, that's why I'm not seeing him. Wondering what's going on, so I reset the radar, back in PPS mode, still not able to find him. This is really bad. What you have to be is very quick here. Trying to pick him up, no lock, I'm going, why can't I lock him? Come out of high PRF mode, going to interleave, medium PRF, and there's lock. Switch to our 77s. Fox 3 at approximately 6 miles. Hostile turned on me, but then as soon as the missile went out, started defending immediately. He's extending cold, dropping chaff and flares. You can see him down below there. Dropping chaff and flares. F-16 splashed. And climbing back up to regain altitude. Doing a little bit of situational awareness. Alright, nearest hostile on my nose, bearing 240, 250-ish. He is flying a beam, climbing back up to altitude. Temporarily lost him there. Nothing on EO, looking around just to make sure that things are okay. Okay. So, next target. So this has been Splash 1 with an R-77. Alright, here's the next bad guy. Slowing the radar. And looking for him. Should be here somewhere, trying to lock on me, somewhere in these hills, in these mountains. Last moment, there it is. He's locked at a range of 12 miles. Now pushing for 10. R-77's out, and he's got a missile out on me. Diving down, terrain masking, hoping the R-77 is going to connect, but that is very unlikely because I judge the terrain ahead of me that there are hills. If that guy is not a goofball, he is going to dive and use the terrain for masking. And as a matter of fact, that's exactly what he did. Alright, data link contacts are now all gone, so he is definitely hiding somewhere in this mountain. And it's my job to find him and take him out. Without data link, it's really hard to tell where he might be, so it's all about rolling the aircraft, vertical scanning, and hoping to find something. Now, new pop-up on data link. I've got a higher, faster target inbound. This is definitely not the guy that I'm looking for in the mountains here. And key item here is be ready to switch targets, but keep in mind that unless you've seen a splash, it's unlikely that you've killed that guy. And so instead of going head on with the high flyer, I'm actually getting his RWR on my HUD, as you can see on the Biroza, on the SP01. See how he's got a solid track on me? It was even what sounded like a missile launch. I turned into the canyon and tried to put this canyon between me and him. Lock broken. So eyes are constantly glued to the RWR. And I see him coming in. Looks like he's lost track of me. He's going to my previous location, the high flyer, on my left. Hugging the mountains here. Using them to shield me from his radar. And I'm starting to vector towards him for a attack, again, using the terrain. And things get really interesting. Pop up on my nose. That is my old friend who I was looking for. And he is looking for me. Looks like their AWACS saw me for a few seconds. He is vectoring towards me. It's all about coming over the hill and who finds who. Vertical scan, locked, R-73 out. Boom, splash F-16. No time to waste. His friend is getting close, but his friend wasn't looking for me. Pick him up, vertical scan, switch to R-77. R-77 is sent. Splash F-18. Quick switch of targets, and I'm glad that the Rook F-18 has turned away from me. And sorry, that was Monkey. Rook was in the other plane. So there we go. Splash 2 targets. Use the terrain. Use the mountains. Remember, unless you've seen a splash, or unless you've seen on F10 or data link that you've got friendlies near you, do not assume that the target that you were looking for in the mountains is dead. Take the following approach. Keep flying around in circles until you see that fireball, or keep flying around for at least 5 minutes until the other guy gives up, and watch your RWR. So right now their AWACSs were definitely seeing me there. For getting a little bit of situational awareness again, I'm down to 4 missiles. I'm down to 2.5 tons of fuel. That's, say, 5,000 pounds. Flanker is a big boy and it needs a lot of fuel to fly around. And weapon state is still have 3 R-77s and 73. And we do have a target of opportunity. He is flying high and fast, or well, medium altitude and fairly fast, on my 10 o'clock, somewhere on top of this mountain to my left. I'm trying to hug the terrain so that his radar cannot pick me up, and making the assumption that he is somewhere behind the hills there. I got lots of terrain masking here. I don't have the fuel to go fast and to evade him. I could either run or I could take a shot. This seemed like a good opportunity to take a shot. Going silent, EO only. Single contact on my nose. Let's see if I can find him. Boom, pop up right next to me. Medium altitude. Let's crank around and find this guy. Got him vertical scan. I'm in r-77s. He's just outside of my weapon employment range. Burning full gate. I need to close in a little bit. I can't fire on him on the edge of the range. Lost lock. Reacquired. Turn on my radar. I need him to slow down. I turn on my radar to slow him down. And Fox 3. Now, the radar will magically make the guy wonder if there's somebody behind him and hopefully make him turn or hit the brakes so that I can get the shot off. Fox 3's tracking. Still got him in radar lock. He's not defending. He's not dropping chaff. Mirage is splashed, and I am out of here. Fuel state, 2,000 kilograms, 4,000 pounds. 2 r-77s and 1 r-73 still on the wing. And of course, those ECM pods, and let's go gate and go home. So, that's our final flight. And we had 3 more splashes with r-77s on this flight. And 1 more r-73 splash. So let's get our tally up. So in the previous flight, we were 6 splashes and 8 missiles used up, which gave us a 0.75%. So let's bring our splashes up to 9 splashes. And a total of, let me do the math here, 6 minus 2 equals 4. 9 divided by 12. We're still successfully at 0.75% missile rate. None of the missiles were notched or jammed. They were driven either into the ground or hit something else. So, not too shabby. And there's your summary for the r-77 and the J-11. Long flight, lots of things going on, and for those who are wondering what I'm doing, there's a Phoenix flying right by me. Somebody fired a Phoenix into my butt as I was RTBing. So there you go, guys. Super long video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you stuck all the way through, thank you very much. Otherwise, Plasma 1945 signing off.